This year I am making a game every month. Last month I made a story-based game, appealing for the feelings of everyone. But it had a lot of flaws. If you didn't see it, I recommend you check it first. So, my objective this month was fixing most of the mistakes I found in the first game, of course, while creating a brand new game. On the first day I started by brainstorming about something about February, so it could be a game theme. After some searches, I found out that February is known for two things. First, Valentine's Day, and second, the month of purification. People used to make a festival involving rituals and offerings to the gods to atone for their mistakes. So with this in mind, I ended up with two themes. First, monster girl dating, and second, a game where you work as someone that approves offerings to the gods. I wrote a bit about both concepts and I ended day 1. On the second day I wrote a bit more about the story, and after some time I decided to choose the theme where you work as someone that approves offerings to the gods. Since I wanted to improve what I did wrong last month, I wanted to make a game that had some replayability. So I thought about it and I ended up with a concept where the player receives money after approving the offerings, if they are correct, and having the player to pay taxes. If the player can pay the taxes, it's game over. On the third day I did some concept art of how the game would look, improving and consolidating my ideas of what would be shown on each side of the screen. If this layout isn't strange to you, you may notice that I took some inspiration on 7 Days on Purgatory and Aftermath, and so the gameplay will be similar, just with my own twist. In the next few days I did most of the art assets of the game, where the stamp was the one that took more time because of the animation. But well, I was really proud of how it turned out. Just look at it. Look at my baby. Everything was going fine until day 9, where something unexpected happened. I got hired and that would reduce my free time to work on the game. However, still with the dopamine of finishing a game, I was convinced that I would be able to finish it in time, even while working a 9 to 6 in my country is 9 to 6, not the 9 to 5. Well, even while working, finally on day 10, I started developing a wipe of the game, starting to code the stamps and how they behave when in certain areas, also adding a place where they should always go back to. On day 11 I did some more art assets. This time I tried to make a pixel art font, and as you can see it kind of go well, and of course I downloaded another pixel art font to use on the current text, while mine is used for the highlight text. On day 12, 13, 14 and 15 I began to make the game basic logic, mostly on the paper generation, since I wanted to make it procedural generated. And of course, to generate the names, I asked my good friend ChatGPT to generate arrays with 50 names each, so I can pick one randomly. Also, I created a scenes array and offerings array. Also added the logic to it, so the game knows what kind of papers can be accepted or rejected. And also I worked a bit on the stamp mark logic, spawning and position, also adding a slight rotation to it so it feels a little more natural and responsive. On day 16, 17 and 18 I made some icons for the three gods, God of Love, War and Riches, and also symbols to symbolize it. Then I imported them to Godot and just started to code some of the logic of each god, because I wanted to make specific offerings to each god. So like, the God of Love wouldn't like animal sacrifice, but maybe the God of War would like it. So if you committed a sin with the God of Love and offered her the animal sacrifice, she wouldn't accept your offering. But if you offer to the God of War, he will accept your offering. I added this to make the game feel a little more vivid and with more replayability. In the next few days I kept working on the game, adding the paper, the behavior of the paper, collision and so on. But what was the highlight of all that work was a signal buzz, since I found how useful it is for connecting signals in different scenes. Like, it makes everything so easy. Everything kept going well without major issues. I found myself spending all weekend working on the game. It was really fun, to be honest. By the day 21 I had most of the core gameplay done, so I started working on a logo for the itch.io page, since I also wanted to practice some of the art skills I have been learning recently. I spent a single day on it, and to be honest, it ended really well, since I have been drawing for not that long, so I am quite proud of the result. Well, going back to the game, I pinpointed and did some stuff that still needed to be done, such as the day transition, since every 10 papers you change days. With this system I also wanted to make the bill screen, where it showed what you got and lost in that day, and how much money you have left. After that, I just kept working on improving small things and fixing some bugs. I downloaded background music without copyrights off the internet, added some sound effects to the game, and then I just published the game to itch.io, proving to myself once again that I could finish a game in 1 month. While I show you a gameplay on the screen, I would like to express what I learned in this time. I learned how useful and how to use signal buzzes. It's something really useful that makes everything so much easier and smoother. So I would recommend you to learn it if you are in Godot. Also, I improved on using twins to make animations. I learned a bit about how to make pixel art fonts and a bit of game feel and how important is replayability and procedural generation. It's something that I want to add to most of the games that I will be doing from now on, but it also depends on what type of game it is, because my first game, it was hard to implement it. So it depends on the genre of the game, because not all games can have these features, or not every idea can have these features. You have to see what you can do procedural generated and what you can't do procedural generated. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see how I made a game in 1 month, check here, please.